So Carlos Leitan, let's start with you and let's start at the beginning. Please describe for us what's happened, what are the economic conditions and developments that have occurred over the last decade or so that led to the US housing bubble and the subsequent, or so-called subprime crisis.
Okay, can we stay to about 10 o'clock? Just That's how long it will take to, but very briefly, I'll try, this is very hard for the economists to be brief. But it comes down, in my view, it comes down to one simple question, or in fact to the fact that no one asks that one simple question. And that question is, what happens when house prices go down? Because particularly from 2004 or 5 to 2007, no one dared or no one wanted to ask that question. Everybody assumed that house prices always go up. Of course, house prices can go up and then they come down. It's cyclical. And what happened in the United States in particular was that there was a huge boost to demand for housing coming from our industry, coming from the financial services. I'll try to explain that. If we go back a few years, the world economy, especially North America, we were in an environment of extremely low interest rates because all kinds of surpluses here and there, but not. Interest rates were very low. So institutional investors and investors in general were on the hunt, were desperate for yield, for having, everybody was saying, I can't live with 2%, yield, I need more. Okay, this was just music to the ears of our friends on Wall Street. It's okay, you want more? I'll get you more. I'll manufacture some sort of security that will give you a much higher rate of return. That's when they got hold of the mortgage market, and that's when they started to develop subprime loans. Subprime loans simply mean loans granted to individuals that didn't necessarily have a record, a good credit record, but it's okay because that loan was subsequently sold, packaged and sold off. What this did to the housing market, well, I guess we'll talk about the financial issue, but what this did to the housing market was to create a large-scale increase in demand that pushed up prices. So prices rose to extraordinary levels because the demand was fed by these cheap mortgages. And housing became just not affordable anymore. So at some point, you run into an affordability wall. And so first-time house buyers drop off because they can't even qualify for those subsidized and cheap mortgages. And so when demand dries up suddenly, then the prices start to decline. You can see right now an example of that, not to the same extreme, but something that is going on right now in the Vancouver market. There were no subprime mortgages there, but there was also a very artificial boost to demand. Prices rose. Everybody always assumed that prices always go up in Vancouver, and now they've turned. And once they turn, they come down fast. And that's what's happening right now in Vancouver.
Carlos, was it just a demand phenomenon, or were there regulation issues as well? You had these so-called ninja loans, no income, no job, no assets, and really easy money. Anyone would get money. That contributed to it as well.
That contributed to it as well, but I wouldn't necessarily, there's enough blame to go around. Regulators, sure, they probably missed the boat, but the US mortgage market is also very fragmented. It was not under the supervision of the Federal Reserve. There were a lot of non-banks involved in this market. So yes, there was outright fraud as well, and that will be, I think, dealt with. The FBI will take care of that.